She's one of our own, and it's always great to have our family come and spend time with us. So we're happy they're here. Nara's a lovely daughter of Dan and Marcy Wandell, if you did not know that. So they've served, and we've been blessed to have them, calling them our own for many years now. So Nara and Tori, you want to come up here, please? What? You got your 5 minutes memorized?
5 minutes? We only have 5 minutes. Oh yeah, I told Mike I don't have that much to say, but Nara has more to say than I do. Which, if you know her, it's not a shock.
I love you.
I know. Okay, I see what you see.
I know what's going on right here.
Okay. Let me start by saying thank you for your faithful support of us and what we do. I think you being faithful to us so that we can be faithful at the guest house encourages not only just like us, it encourages our coworkers and even like the people that we work with. I say we as far as the mission in Mexico that we work with. It encourages them knowing that the missionaries are there because of how we're there. Not why we're there, but how we're there. We're here because you guys are faithful to support us being there. So all that encouragement goes all the way down the line to the people that we're trying to reach. So thank you for that. We've been technically missionaries we got our plaque for 15 years. So it seems pretty crazy. It's a piece of paper. We're going to laminate it. But we could yammer on about stuff that we do, but it may not be something that you want to know about. So when we're done yammering on about what we do and what we have done or have been doing the last couple of years since we were here last, feel free to ask questions, and we'll try to answer those as much as possible. So yeah, if something's unclear what we say or you want to know more, feel free to ask us when we're done. So we are in El Paso, and yes, it's like 108 there right now. So it's super hot. This is a picture of El Paso, and the guest house is in the northeast part of town. It's about 7 miles from the border of Mexico. It's just a house. We don't even have a picture of the house because it's just a house. You drive by on the street, you wouldn't even know it's there. I mean, you would know the house is there, but not that it's the guest house. So we try to keep it looking as normal as possible because we get a fair amount of traffic coming around and through, and we don't want to raise too much attention with just the neighborhood and stuff. Our neighbors know us. They know what we do. It's not a secret. But you wouldn't even know it's a guest house. But we have 32 pillows, so we could technically sleep 32 people in there. Although I don't think that's ever happened. The most we've had is like about 25 guys for a mission meeting thing. So I take care of like the physical property of the building, just the things need fixed unless it's out of my scope, like major plumbing. I did not replace the roof. That was too much work. But I can try to fix or maintain things that I can, and then she does all the financial stuff for it, like paying the bills. And when people stay there, they do have to pay a little bit of money, so depending on how they pay or charge in their account stuff, she does all the finances for all that. When I buy things to fix the guest house, she then does the finances for all that. So that's kind of in a nutshell what we do. Oh, that's so nice lighting.
Isn't it? It says. See, look, you go back.
Yeah.
This picture actually my friend took was she was flying west, and she's actually in the plane is over Mexico, just to give you some perspective. And if you look in the upper right-hand corner of the mountain, that's the pocket where the guest house is. So we have the largest state park within a city limit. That mountain is Franklin Mountain State Park, and all the way around it is El Paso. So there's stuff on the left side of that picture you can't see. We are the Meisners. Lydia, I was going to tell a little bit about our family. Lydia's 12, Turin is 14, and Lydia will be going into 7th grade. Turin will be a freshman next year. Not sure when that happened. And just, I didn't even talk to them ahead of time, but I'm just a little bit of, we homeschool, but we're also part of a co-op. And so to me as their mom, I was like, I meant to ask them. I even have a blank Something big that they did, Turin this year completed a mock trial. He was a witness, a key witness in a mock trial, and he competed against another campus. We're part of Classical Conversations, and another campus did it. It was really a lot of work, and they did it, and they won, and it was a great experience. And then Lydia is really interested. That's not his only interest. He has other interests, but to me that was a key thing this year. And Lydia's been interested in horse riding for a long time, and that's expensive. And the Lord has brought through friends a way for her to ride for free on Saturdays for as long as she wants. And that's just been a huge blessing and something we've prayed for, and just how the Lord has blessed the kids that way. Something just to be praying for with the kids is El Paso is a large city, and it holds Fort Bliss, which is a military base. A lot of the people we meet are military, and they move. So just something to keep in mind, like coming back to Skiff Lake, you have the people that I grew up. I try to explain that to the kids, because since we've lived there, a lot of the people they've gotten to know have left. For one reason or another, have moved on. So for them, this whole coming back home and seeing all these people that you knew when you were young isn't something that they have, and it's just something we're always in prayer for. This next school year, Turin has, we all have a really great group of families that just, it's very, we encourage each other, we camp together. It's just such a great group and season right now. And this year is probably gonna be our last year with them. They will all be moving on. So we're just I already start praying now, like, okay, Lord, this is happening. So we're just praying that you're going to bring new relationships in for our family, because the people who come to the guest house don't stay. They're moving on through.
Okay, I'd say about maybe 3 or 4 years ago, I was fairly clean shaven, and Nara commented that I have 2 chins.
I didn't know.
And so I said, well, I will then start growing a beard to save you from looking at my double chin. So there you have it. I'm just helping Nara out. So part of what we do, so the guest house was built, the house itself was probably built in the mid 60s, and the mission bought the house I think in the mid 80s, somewhere around 85. They added a couple rooms on and a mail room next to each other, and they turned a shop in the back into an apartment in like 95. But they didn't really do anything with the house itself as far as updating or anything, because everything functioned just fine. So since 95, since like 65 when the house is built, it's like the original house, like all the fixtures, everything. I did realize this last year that, I don't even know, I can't even count right now how many actual faucets there are in the entire house. There's 3 water heaters. I realized last summer I've actually changed all of the faucets out in everywhere. I've done all of the faucets. I've done 2 of the 3 water heaters. They've totally failed because they've been there for a long time. So I have 1 more water heater that I'm waiting for it to just burst all over the floor, and then I'll replace it. We have new field leadership. In a sense, there's 2 younger guys on the field leadership, and they wanted to do a walkthrough early last year of the guest house with new eyes and new perspectives and stuff. And when we first moved there 11 and a half years ago, I asked our field chairman about updating some things, and he's like, no, as long as it's functioning, we're not going to mess with it. I'm like, okay, well, everything does function just fine. And so our new field leadership came in, and him and his wife, their perspective was, people don't abuse the guest house, but they treat it with respect. But could we do a few things to make it look a little bit nicer so that maybe people will, in a sense, respect it a little bit more? It doesn't look worn out and outdated and everything. And so it was like, yeah, we could do that, but we were told not to do anything. It's like, well, let's look into updating a few things. So they walked around and gave us a list of things that they see with new eyes, and there was numerous things. Some things we just were simple updates. One of the guy in the top right picture, Rich, he used to be a professional painter in Massachusetts and stuff. He's been down there for 20 years. he paints everything, and he's really good at it. So we got him on board to paint the living room, the kitchen, and the laundry room, and the hallway. And so that painting is what he does. I mean, he's really good at it. He did all those things. He painted all that stuff. It was really suggested to do backsplash in the kitchen, new countertops, and also new drawer or doors on the cabinets. So I built the cabinet doors just with the redneck tools that I have. I got the cabinet doors done. So you can see the difference. It had wood grain countertops and doors with like trim around the outside, just from the mid 60s. I mean, that's when it was built. That's what it looked like since then. So I didn't build the countertops. I had somebody else do that. But new countertops and new drawer faces, and then the backsplash. Rich painted most of everything. I did actually paint the cabinet doors because he lives down in Mexico, but when he came up, he did the walls. So we did all that. Just makes a huge improvement on things. It just looks so much newer and nicer and cleaner. That's the other side of the kitchen. Red trim up on the top. That was not us. That was been there since we've been there. So I took that little scallopy trim and cut that down and put it back up and painted it, just trying to make it look a little bit nicer. What I didn't want to do was the floor. So the floor is kind of probably original to the kitchen, but that's a lot of work, and I don't want to do that. So it functions just fine, so we don't need to do that. But I will say, Rich, with painting, he did the hallway, he did the living room, which is a pretty good sized living room, the kitchen, and the laundry room.
And a bedroom.
Well, yeah, but he did all that with a gallon of paint, and he used about that much out of the next gallon of paint. I'm like, you're ridiculous. He's like, oh, that's what I do, is I just apply paint, and it's got 2 coats and everything, looks good. So then he's been there since we've been here, well, really the last 2 weeks, because we've been gone 2 weeks. He used the other gallon of paint, which didn't use a gallon, but to paint one of the other bedrooms. I'm sure there's still some left of that gallon of paint, but he does a really good job and everything. So that's kind of what we did last summer. We did that when we got back from Idaho. Because the countertops were there waiting for me. So did that. That's what we did last summer. Am I supposed to say anything more? No? All right.
Whenever I talk about that, I always say, we did this and we did that. And there was no we. I didn't do any of it. I helped pick it out along with some other ladies on the field. And then I originally said to Tori, could we do a herringbone backsplash? No. So there were some hard no's, but everything else he was game for. And then someone had another suggestion. We had a huge pantry that it was just really, it was worn. And someone suggested making the doors match what's in the kitchen. I said, let's give Tori a month. And then from finishing the kitchen, and then I'll present the idea. So he did that as well. I don't remember the time frame. I just feel like time is all mushy right now. But this year, I sent out an email. We were realizing that a lot of the kids who come to the guest house, we have babies and we have teens now. And their guest house is amazing. If you have small kids, we have an area for those kids to play in. The outside play area is fenced in, but we really don't have anything for older kids. And we also feel like within our community, it's in a city, so the yards are really small. We are so blessed to have a very tiny patch of grass, which makes and a tree. And I know that sounds ridiculous here, but we have a tree in the backyard and a tree in the front yard, and that's pretty uncommon. And so our backyard is a great space. We were just talking between Tori and I, but it was at the same time. Like the Lord put it on both of our hearts. We would desire a space for kids to interact with that doesn't involve technology or screens of any kind. But a lot of these kids, because they only come up every once in a while, they don't know our kids really well. So a way they can interact without sitting around and just a more natural way to interact with each other. And we both were thinking about a foosball table. Where would we put it? Because that doesn't require, you can't really break anything if you play foosball, was kind of our thought. And so Tori said, I have a hard time saying this is a need we have, unless it's something obvious like our van breaking down. So we put an email out, and right away, within 2 weeks, we had more than we thought we would receive, than we needed. We were able to get a foosball table, more chairs, fans. I mean, it doesn't really rain there, and it's not humid, so you can put something like a foosball table outside. The fans are to move the air, because right now it's 105. So there's really a short window of when you don't want to be out there during the day, but at night it cools way off. So you can be out there at night with the fans. Tori literally raised the roof to be able to put the fans on. It was just this huge project, and this was really the first evening we had a group of teens over, and these are teens from the community that we live in. And so it's a space that we were able to put a dartboard up. We have cornhole, you can't see in our grass, that we were playing, and it was just really nice to have that space where they can interact and then conversations can take place. It was so cool just to see it go from an idea to happening. And if you were part of that in praying or giving in any way, it's been amazing. And even before we came up here, friends of ours were in the guest house, and he said when we were telling him about this, he said, I want to go hang out in your back patio. We're like, okay. So just even that space, it's open, people know it's there, they can come use it. So that's just been a huge blessing. The top right picture is Tori. Before you say anything what you're doing, I said, well, have you packed for this trip? And he said, yep, and that's what he held up. And I said, okay. So I had to take a picture because he was packed.
Right. So before I came to Michigan to the Bible school, I did vinyl siding on houses. And I tell people in El Paso about vinyl siding, and they just look at me like I'm speaking a foreign language. They don't do vinyl siding in El Paso. But one of our coworkers was from Pennsylvania. He knew about vinyl siding. So when he was in Mexico, he built his house, put vinyl siding on it. So what I did in Idaho was I had my own siding business. So I obviously quit that and came to Michigan, but I had done that for a number of years, so I knew what I was doing with vinyl siding. So the guy in Mexico that built the house sold it to another missionary, and they're actually he's our field. Both those guys were field chairmen. The one guy's retiring, moving back to Pennsylvania. The new guy, younger, bought his house, and it's got vinyl siding on it. Well, a hailstorm had come through and knocked holes in the vinyl siding, and he got varied opinions from coworkers about how to fix that vinyl siding. And then someone must have mentioned that I knew about vinyl siding, and he's like, well, how do I fix the vinyl siding? You know, I'm like, okay, so you gotta do this, you gotta do that, it's not hard, but do this. He's like, next time you come down, can you fix the siding? I'm like, yeah, but I don't plan on ever coming down there. I mean, we go down for our field conference every other year, but we actually just bypass Chihuahua now. There's a great bypass road, so we don't even go into the city. I said, the only way that's going to happen is if I can get a ride down to your house and then a ride back up like the next day. I don't feel like spending a bunch of time down there just because of the whole thing. The guest house gives us some flexibility, but it's weird flexibility. I mean, we're there all the time, but we're not busy all the time. I mean, if I can explain that better, let me know. But so there was a family that was going to come up and stay for 2 or 3 nights or a week or something, and his wife is not feeling well at all. So he's like, you know what, I'm bringing my in-laws back up. Did he need anything? Yeah, like he was coming, they canceled their rooms. He's like, I'm gonna come up in the morning, drop my in-laws off. Can you take them to the airport, right? And they're like, yeah, we can take them to the airport. And then our field chairman was like, he had already made plans. He was gonna be coming up the next day on that Sunday. So I'm like, wait a minute. One guy's coming up, dropped his in-laws off, and going back to Chihuahua the same day. The guy whose house needs fixed is coming up the next day. I'm like, well, I'll get in with you, and I'll go down to Chihuahua, and then I'll come back up with the other guy. I was like, that'll work out great. So you have to get a visa. So I went out on my motorcycle, got the visa that I needed at the border house. Got in with him. We were down there by 2, 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Fixed the siding. It really took about an hour and a half to fix the siding. And a lot of people were like, wait, you're going all the way to Chihuahua for what? To fix the siding? And then you're going back? I'm like, yeah. Like, he's going to give me dinner, and I'll sleep at his house, and then we'll come back up in the morning. And so I did that. That's me. That's all I needed to pack. I was like, I don't need a bunch of clothes because I'm just spending the night. I took my toothbrush too, I think. So, but my vinyl siding, tin snips, and a hammer, and he had all the extra siding we needed, so we fixed the siding and came back up. So, yeah. So I like doing stuff like that. And as there's more opportunities with new families needing things worked on and built and stuff, that might be more of an opportunity to go down and do things like that. So, yeah.
So when he does that, the kids and I take the guest house, and we do okay.
Yeah.
We do okay. And if he goes on longer work trips, the kids and I take care of the guest house, and it's nice they're old enough to do that. We all have jobs, and I can send them over to lock and unlock, and it works really well. I'm very thankful for the Turin and Lydia and their heart of service in that. The bottom right picture, in September, I received an email from the field chairman, and I read it as a lot of our missionaries live in the tribe. We do not have a dorm situation, so they're going to be homeschooling in the tribe, and there's a lot of new young families going out. And he sent an email out. In the past, there's been one representative there's also a school in Chihuahua for missionary kids, and there's been a representative from that school to check in with homeschooling families in the tribe. Well, they are going to be starting a committee. So instead of it falling on one person, it's going to be a group of people. And I was like, that is a great idea. That is so great. It'll be fresh perspective. And I assumed he was telling me because I'm a homeschool mom. Next day, I receive a message from his wife, who's my good friend. Hey, I don't know if that email took you by surprise, but I'm the one that suggested you and recommended you to be on the committee. Her kids are younger, and when we were in the tribe, I always asked you first about homeschool input, and I just really value what you have to say. And I thought, I did not read that email correctly. So I reread it, and yes, we're putting together this committee, and we would like you to be on it. I don't know how I missed that the first time, because I think I just feel, and I know it's where God wants me. I am not equipped to do this. I am not equipped to help other homeschool people. I feel like we have reached the stage, and I keep telling Turin, I never set out to homeschool until we took this. And I said, we have reached the stage of you're kind of on your own. We are new territory with high school, so the fact that they wanted to be on this committee. So the first meeting we had, the second meeting, I volunteered to set up the next meeting, which turned into Nara, what's the agenda, which turned into Nara's organizing all this. And I'm like, what's going on? So what it is, I can't believe it's all the Lord. That is the group down in the bottom right-hand corner from the field conference we had a couple weeks ago. It includes the principal of the school in Benimea. 3 of us are parents. There's a tribal consultant. So when you are a missionary in the tribe, they come check on you, like language, how are you doing as a family? And they will also, if you're schooling your kids, how is that going? So we're all on that team. I'm the only one actively homeschooling right now on the team. Our goal is these new families. We're kind of each assigned to one. I've already interviewed one as far as, what are your plans? What are you thinking? What is your homeschool style? What books do you think you're going to use? Because there aren't libraries out there. Do you have any questions? And so when they do have questions, they can ask me. I I don't know, homeschooling is hard. Being a parent is hard. And when you teach as an elementary teacher, there is a special, there's learning frustrations, and you handle that as a teacher. But when you're a parent and the teacher, you have the learning frustrations, and then you have just the in general parent-child frustrations. And maybe I have looked into local schools to put my kids in. So there's times when you get frustrated, and it's just like, I can't do this anymore. But we all have, the kids and I have walked through those times, and we're like, no, we know this to be the best thing. But when you are so far removed from civilization, you are the only English speakers out there, and it's frustrating and it's hard. You don't have that. And I want to be that encouragement to those families, to help them stay there, to help them, like, just to hold their hand, to pray for them. And I do feel like the kids are part of that, because we've walked through that together as a family and gotten on the other side, and just, you're going to be okay. You're going to do this. What do you need? There is a Latin missionary. We have missionaries that have gone through our training, and they are from Mexico, and they're missionaries in Mexico. And there's one gal who is bilingual, and I was able to connect with her. After we introduced ourselves, because this is all new, she came right up to me and she said, I want you to be my ambassador. I'm like, I don't think that's the word you mean, but I know what you mean. And she's like, I need you. And our kids are similar in ages, and she's like, and I have a list of bilingual books she wants me to look for. And I said, I need you, because you have a high schooler, you're a Spanish speaker, we have Mexican missionaries coming up that I can't talk to. Can you be part of this team and help and encourage them? I'm like, I will encourage you, you encourage them, and we'll just keep feeding on each other and building each other up that way. So this is a new endeavor. We meet once a month online, and it's something for me that you can be praying for, because it's fun, and I just so badly want to serve the Lord well in this and let them know I do not have all the answers. I will find them for you. I will turn you to the Lord. But it's definitely a team effort, and I'm excited. The first 2 meetings I wasn't sure, and now I'm pretty excited about it. We had our field conference in May, and we had 3 days turnaround, and we drove up here. So this is the Field of Mexico right here. And when we went, it's at a hotel, and it's about a week long, and we hear feedback from tribal missionaries. We get to see people we don't normally see. It was really neat for me, and I was telling Tori, about a third of those people have come through the guest house. We've met personally. When we set out to be missionaries, we knew we wanted to be support missionaries, but we were gonna be support missionaries in Chihuahua through the school down there. And God decided that we were gonna take over the guest house. And as a result, we are supporting a third of these people. The other half live in Mexico. They're Mexican citizens, and they just don't come to El Paso. They don't really have that desire, or not that desire, but that need to come out. But we'll help them. We still get their mail. If family comes in, we put them on the bus. So it was just really neat. It's a growing field. There's a lot of young kids, and it's really encouraging. So just to I realize you can't see our faces, but to give you guys an idea of your part in supporting us by prayer and finances and encouragement, we are then touching all these people here. And it's just a really neat thing to see and to be a part of. And just with Dr. Bracey talking about, the end times, and just that urgency to make sure that those people who don't have the Bible in their language, who have never heard the truth of Christ in their own tongue, we are all part of that, and just that urgency. And it was really neat to be there with fresh perspective with these young families, and to see that coming closer and closer.
Wait for it. It didn't come up.
That's okay, just thank you.
There it is. Anyways, I've said at the beginning, I'll say it again. Thank you all, and people, if there's people watching online, just for your encouragement and your faithful monetary giving, but also praying for us and encouragement. It's just a huge blessing. It really is. I'll take questions, or Nara will take questions if you have any, because that's about all we have right now for sharing about who we are and what we do. Trying to think of another funny story. There is a family that has started to come up to the guest house every so often, and they're very outgoing, and they're like, hey, we're going to bring these games up. You guys we're going to put our kids down for bed. You guys come over and play games. Yeah, sure. Our kids would go over with us and play. And it was at the field conference. Someone goes, they could be our kids. I'm like, well, what do you mean? He's like, no, Preston and Martina, they could be our kids. I'm like, huh? Like, they could? They're like in their early 20s. I'm like, oh my goodness. And they have kids of their own. So anyways, they're fun to hang out with. But does anyone have any questions about, are we affected by the border crisis? I would say no, not in El Paso. El Paso, statistically, as far as the biggest city, is, well, I think what they say, El Paso and Juarez, Mexico, that's the largest two big cities on any international border. And so El Paso's like 700,000 people, including Fort Bliss military. It's like one of the safest cities in the U.S. as far as crime and problems and stuff. Us as a mission, we're not really affected, especially by the border stuff going on. We never see anything like that. We feel safe. Yeah, I think where things are going on is way farther out in the desert, away from the city. There's stuff that goes on in the city we don't know about, but it doesn't affect us. And I would say, as far as it's like safety in Mexico, I think our understanding from our missionaries that have spoken about it, there's kind of this mutual understanding of what goes on down there is one thing and what we're doing is a totally different thing. And there's a mutual respect of, I'll stay away from you and you stay away from me. And there's never been a hassle or a problem. I think if there was a problem, we wouldn't be down there as a mission. So, yes. Yes, yeah. Mrs. Parks? Okay, so are we responsible for the updating of the guest house? I'm responsible for fixing things.
Up until the new leadership came in, we are not, to answer that. But we were never given a budget. And as the finance person, that was really hard for me because I know what goes out and what comes in. And it's like, so Tori is more, we need new sheets, I'm gonna buy sheets. We need towels, I'm gonna buy towels. But as far as, can I buy decorations or not, that was always a gray area. So I didn't, and the Lord provided through donations. So when the new field chairman came on, he said, we are allotting you this amount of money to do any updates that you see fit. So opened a new spreadsheet, and we started. So we were able to do the remodel through that, and then he was able to reconfigure some storage shed that really needed to be done. And now we are watching, I don't know, this really excites me. I think because for so long I didn't have a budget. So now at the end of every month, we're sent a new report as far as what is our income, what is going out, and like our deficit. We'd never been given that before. So we are monitoring that over the next 6 months to a year to see kind of where we're at, I guess, as far as making future improvements. It's not self-sustaining. The mission itself kind of collaboratively puts money in. So no, we are responsible for our own, because we don't get paid by the guest house, we are responsible for raising the finances for us to just live in El Paso and take care of the guest house. And I will buy little things here and there and not reimburse for the guest house and not reimburse myself. But the guest house is its separate nonprofit, I guess you could say. No. So we live across the street and down a couple, and that's a whole nother story if you want to hear it. I did not ever want to live in El Paso, and I never wanted the guest house ministry. I wanted to teach. And through a series of events, God gave us the house we're in. And so that is our house, which is nice, but we can still see the guest house, and it's within you just walk over, which makes it nice when he's gone. I can send a kid to unlock. We have to unlock and lock the mailroom every day. And I can just send a kid over. It's just across the street. So that's a good question. You would never know. I'll find a picture and show you. It looks like a ranch style house, and it's on a corner lot. So it's like the long ranch style house. They made the garage sleeps like 8 with its own bathroom, and then they added like an L on, and that has the mail room and 2 more bedrooms, and then there's a detached, it used to be a garage that they made into an apartment, and we'll put tribal missionaries in there just because the rest is very communal living. So yeah. Okay. I do not cook. 2 missionaries before us, they did have dinners, and then the missionaries before us, they stopped doing that, and they got positive feedback because people come up and they want to eat at certain places, or maybe they want to cook, and they're shopping, so they're out a lot. So what we try to do is if we see someone's coming up for a night or an extended period, we'll reach out. We do a lot of desserts because they're done shopping, or we'll do coffee in the morning. We'll have people over. So it's not really I'm kind of thankful. I love cooking for people, but it's so sporadic. Now, other mission houses look totally different from ours, and they do a meal for the missionaries, but our missionaries just really enjoy doing their own thing. So, good question. Anybody else? Okay. You see? You good?
I don't know if I have anything more to say. No more questions? We're going to be here until the second week in July. We'll take off and go back. We'll try to be back by the 15th. Our replacements want to leave. I'm sure they want to leave by then. It's really hot down there right now. So we'll be here that long. So you'll see us in church the next few weeks. Oh, Mike's got a question. No. Oh, he's going to add something. Oh, okay. I think we're done then. Yes. You come on up. You have to come up.
My kids. You guys are young enough to be our kids. As a good point that clicked my mind, as mentioned by Adam this morning, we do have a sign-up sheet back there for you have an opportunity to host and ask some more questions, get to know this family because you didn't get to know the kids, the growing kids, any better. So I pray that you take advantage of it. These are the first of several or a few missionaries that will be coming through this summer, and it's our prayer as a missions committee that you guys get to know them, learn more about them, and when you know somebody better, you can pray better for them, right? Because you have that more personal contact. And we're going to have them over, host them, whether they want to or not. Anyways, but I encourage you to sign up before you leave and get to know them. Since there's no other questions, we're going to stand and close in prayer and pray for the Meisners and for what God has planned for us. Because as we leave this field, that statement back there is not just a statement, it's so true. We are all called as missionaries, and we all have the opportunity once we walk out that door to share with somebody, whether it's your neighbors, whether it's a cashier. You never know who God's going to bring your way, but we have the opportunity to show the love of Jesus, and right now this world needs to see the love of Jesus more and more. So please join me in prayer. Our Heavenly Father, we thank you and praise you for who you are. We thank you for loving us so much, and that we honestly can say we do love you, Lord. We thank you for Nara and Tori and Turin and Lydia being here for the next few weeks. I pray, Lord, that we as a church family can be a blessing to them as they are part of our family too. And I just thank you for the ministry they do serve down there, and as we've seen behind us with all those missionaries and their families, the blessings they are to them and what you have called them to do. As Ron Blue said many years ago, the sun never sets on the ministry here at Skiff Lake, and this is a good example of that. We just thank you for what the work you're doing, and I pray that you use each one of us also to continue that work, to glorify you and to love our neighbors. In Jesus' name we pray, amen.